Absolutely. Somebody kicked me in the butt. Women in my life are what make me great. There's no question about that. So now we know. But April's doing a webinar today with David Carter on marketing. I know that Brandon Seacrest is doing a follow-up on Thursday. So we got a lot of good things there.
It's at 3 o'clock, right?
Pardon?
3 o'clock? The webinar.
Good question. April, what time is today starting?
It is 3 o'clock Central Time, so it's 4 o'clock our time. So
Okay.
Eastern Time.
Good.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Thank you very much for that. So we got a lot of really great things happening starting next week. I'll have 99% of our distributor school is done. We just got a few fine tune it, and you're going to be really impressed with that. So we got a lot of good things happening there. But today we got Darin Glenn, been around since 1985. So definitely before 90% of you were born. Is on the hot seat. That's not designed to make you feel old, Darin. Just that gray there, and the beard might be designed to do that a little bit.
I was going to get that just for men, but then I thought nobody'd believe it.
Hey, listen, I've tried that stuff. Doesn't work for me at all. So we got some great questions. So I want to thank you for coming on today. So we got some really great questions from a lot of really good people. So we're going to start off with, again, nice and easy one from Sue Jenna. She wants to know what got Darin Glenn into direct sales.
Well, basically I started first time. Well, I mean, I didn't really do sales. I sold my first vacuum when I was 16. But before that, I started with you when I was 11, putting flyers out in downtown Montreal. A penny a flyer. I used to do 2,000 flyers a day.
Definitely overpaying you.
No, I thought you were underpaying me, but at least I got some exercise. Then I did, when you were in LaSalle, I played tapes on the phone for you. And then basically, then I started with Bruce, did some sales with him when I was 16. And then I was having a break from college, and Bruce came down just at Christmas and says, why don't you try this? And I saw you driving the Jag and some nice cars, and I thought, well, why not? And I got into it and haven't looked back.
Fantastic. Okay. So you met your wife when you were in this business as a sales manager / sales manager. She was there visiting a friend, I believe, who was in the marketing department.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, actually, I was a distributor. I was at Bruce's office.
Okay, I thought you were in Leslie. Okay, not a problem. And then you fell in love, and now you guys have been married how long to Deanne?
31 years in July.
And you have how many children that you know of?
2.
Okay, so next question from Sue, and I'm sure she has a good reason for this, is how important is it having your spouse's support to being successful?
Oh, extremely important. I mean, with the hours we do, you couldn't do our hours and put the effort in if you didn't have support at home. You know, I mean, let's face it. But that's the great thing, because Deanne's my partner, so she has just as much stake in the business as I do.
Fantastic. Okay, now this is a random question from Taylor. But she wants to know, why do you know so many random facts by bizarre things? Because apparently you're kicking her butt in some type of game?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm the king of Trivial Pursuit. You know that. I just have an incredible memory, and I can just recall stuff. So I guess I'm just lucky. And I read a lot.
Okay.
Or I used to anyways.
Taylor would also know, what is your biggest strength that you would pass on to a new dealer?
Onto a new dealer or a safety advisor?
Onto a new dealer.
Basically, being able to manage your inventory and keep your people on DEMS. Because the biggest problem I find with a lot of new dealers is they don't watch their inventory. And I've seen this over the years. And if you don't watch your inventory, you're not going to have anything to sell, or stuff's going to go missing.
Okay. So good ideas. Excellent answers there. Okay, and this is similar, I guess, to that. What would you say is your strongest strength? This is from Bruce.
I think basically tie downs and closing.
Okay.
Getting the customer to understand how important it is that they should have OmniShield in their home.
Okay.
I mean, if you get them tied down during the demo, then it makes it a lot easier at the end.
So what's your favorite tie down you like to use?
Uh, there's no particular one I use a lot. The biggest thing I like to get them to understand is if they have a fire, you've got 2 minutes to get your family out. And there's not a fire department in the world that can make it to your home in 2 minutes. So basically, if you're not already out by the time they get here, it's too late. So you need to know immediately when that starts. And you know, and I know, I mean, if you had a fire at 4 o'clock in the morning, what would you rather rely on, OmniShield or ionization? Absolutely. And they always say OmniShield.
Absolutely, that makes sense. Do you have a favorite type of customer?
I don't know. I think they're all good. I do well with older people. I do a lot of outside of the town. Like I'll go and I'll do a lot of farmers and stuff. So, but there's nobody in particular. I think everybody needs the system.
Okay.
So there's nobody that I'm really is a favorite, I would say.
Okay, fair enough.
I think if you just do the demo and get them to understand, I mean, if they're older, you want to save their lives just as much as anybody. So, and if they're younger, they have young children, they want to make sure they get their children out.
Okay, fair enough. Now, what is your favorite part of the OmniShield demo?
I like the walkthrough and the alarm kill.
Any particular reason?
Well, I mean, when you go through that alarm kill, there's no way in the world that these people can look at their alarms again and think that they're going to save their lives. So if you do it well, I mean, they're telling you, let's just throw it in the garbage.
Right.
And I like that when they tell me they want to throw their stuff out.
Okay, fair enough. It's a nice little committing question, no question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your first introduction to the OmniShield product was when you went to John Crease's office with myself and Bruce.
Yeah.
What was your impression the first time you seen the presentation by David Carter?
The way David does it is so incredible. I mean, I wanted to buy then, just sitting there. So when I look at a product, like when you told us about it, we're going to go down to Pennsylvania. And I said, what for? And you said, well, we're going to go take a look at some fire alarms we can sell. And again, like everyone else, I'm just thinking, well, shit, I got fire alarms. They came with the house. You know, I mean, at that point, I wasn't even thinking you got to change them every 10 years. So, and you see them at Costco 2 for $20. So you're thinking, okay, how the hell am I going to make money off of fire alarms? But when I went down there and I saw that demo, I'm thinking, well, this is something everybody should have in their house. And holy cow, and when I came home, I looked at the ones that the builder put in, and they were complete garbage. So they were exactly what David would say not to have in your house. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, well, let's face it. Would I spend some money to make sure my family's safe? Of course I would. So yeah, this would be an easy product to sell. Awesome. And then when I got on board.
And then you found it was pretty easy. Now you've sold vacuums for many, many years. You've also sold outdoor furniture and you've sold a few other things. What do you find is the biggest difference between how the customers respond to your vacuum cleaner demonstration compared to how your customers respond to the OmniShield demonstration?
Well, with vacuum cleaners, you're usually going there telling them you're coming to tell them about air filtration and going to save their kids from asthma. And, you know, like that's what they're thinking. They're coming here, somebody's coming in, you know, to show them an indoor air quality system. Whereas, and there's very leery usually when you get to the house. So you got to be really good to get yourself in the door. Whereas I find with this, we're coming to talk about fire safety. I mean, people are opening the door. They're damn near handing you a coffee the minute you walk in. Oh, come on in. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, no problem. All right. Well, where do you want to go? Well, the kitchen table's the best. Okay, great. Come on over. Look, I got the coffee on. I mean, they're happy to see you. Okay. Right. Whereas when I found with vacuums, you get there and it's sort of like, oh my God, it's another vacuum guy. You know, so it's a completely different reaction. That's what I like about it. People want to learn about fire safety, how to make their homes safer. So they're happy when you get there.
Super, super. Now, last year at the convention, you went to the convention with your wife, Deanne.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was her impression of the company? Or what was her impression of the convention?
She loved it. She had a great time. Loved the convention. Thought everybody was great. Was very happy that we were in this business.
How important is it to have your spouse at the conventions with you?
I would say extremely important, right? I mean, it's a completely different type of convention when we were in vacuums compared to this. In vacuums, they almost tell you not to bring your spouse, right? It's almost like they're trying to hide stuff away. Whereas with this, they want your spouse there. And when your spouse comes, she's treated with respect and everybody's happy to see her. And that's the thing that I find is a huge difference, because when they do that, your spouse is very happy that you're working with this company.
Fantastic. That's awesome. What is your goal for 2020 once you get back?
Well,
Hopefully
we were
back in
starting to
2020.
hire, but sort of through that way. But that's our main goal, is to get back and build a crew.
Okay. No problem, builder crew. Now, what would you say is something that you would attribute to your success in selling, in sales?
I think persistence and belief in the numbers. I've always been a huge believer in in closing averages. So I've always thought, you know what, if your closing average is 30% and I want 5 sales this week, I just have to do 5 demos. The biggest thing I find with most guys is they get depressed if they go and they do 10 DNSs first. To me, if I do a few DNSs, yeah, I start to think, okay, what am I doing wrong? But at the same time, most people that come out and watch me, they say you do the exact same demo every time with the exact same joke, at the exact same time. Everything's identical. And I go, well, yeah. They go, how do you do that? I go, well, you got to realize you've seen my demo 3 or 4 times. That customer, this is the first time for them. Do you think a stand-up comedian, when they go up on stage, does a whole new routine and all new jokes every time? Or does he do the same one for everything because he's in a different town every night? So to me, I think the biggest thing, and most people do, is don't change your demo. If you've got it working, stick with it, keep with it, and don't change it. Because the minute you change it, now you're changing your closing average, because you're not doing the same demo anymore. And if you've got that demo and you've got a 30 or 40% closing average, then you stick with that demo, because it will pay you off in the end. Whereas if you change it, well, now you might have a 20% closing average, or you might be starting your closing average all over again because it's a completely different demo. So do what was taught to you, stick to it, okay? And guaranteed, if you know your closing average is 30, 40%, whatever it is, you will get that closing average. Don't change it.
Awesome. Good advice. Really good advice. Do you and Deanne have a favorite vacation place?
I don't know. Do we have a favorite vacation place? She loves anywhere that's warm with an ocean.
Warm with an ocean.
I like going places where I can actually do things. Because after a day or two, the ocean's nice, but it's sort of like, well, shit, how long am I going to sit here for?
Okay, so what do you like to do on vacation?
I don't know. I haven't had a whole hell of a lot of them. So, but I like to explore different towns and cities. If there's an attraction locally, I like to go and check that out. You know, like we're hoping the next trip next year is going to be Mexico, so I'd like to go and see the Mayan ruins. So I'm hoping for Cancun or something like that.
Okay, good. Listen, and hopefully David or Chris is listening to you then. That'd be awesome. Okay, you've sold in a lot of different places all over the world. Where do you find was the easiest city you've found to sell in?
I don't really think there is an easier place to sell. I think the sale is made in your head.
Okay.
So if you believe you're going to sell, you're going to sell. If you think, most people, they think, oh, well, you know, I don't do so well in this town, or I don't do so well in that town. If you let that creep into your head, then you're not going to do well in that town. And you know what? You're right. But what did you get for being right?
Okay.
I think I've done well in every town I've ever gone to, only because to me, I think people are people. So I don't think people in out west, like I lived in Edmonton and I liked selling out in Alberta. It was funny when Brandon mentioned Camrose yesterday because I've sold there. But to me, I don't think people in Camrose want to protect their kids any more or less than somebody in Winnipeg. So it's a product that everybody needs. If you go in and you present the need and you get the people to understand, then I don't think there's a big difference in either place.
Okay, that's awesome. What attracted you to the OmniShield business?
When I saw the product, I saw what it could do and the quality, but also how much GHS is behind you, right? If you have a problem, they want to solve that problem for you. So just the support and the product itself. I mean, it's something that I want, and I have in my house, of course. And it saved us last summer. I mean, in the middle of a bloody night. My son came home and from partying with his friends, decided to put a couple burgers on the stove and go up to his bedroom. Now, he says he was just going up to change, and he swears he didn't fall asleep. But, I mean, I got bounced out of bed by the bed shaker. Came running downstairs. The whole main floor was completely full of smoke. There was a fire in where the burgers were. I got that out. And he comes running down and he goes, "Oh, I thought you said they don't go off with cooking smoke." And I said, "Can you take a look around? I mean, you're standing 4 feet from me and I can barely see that you're there. You see how much smoke's in here?" I said, "Here's what you got to really be questioning yourself." He goes, "What?" I said, the alarms the builder put in, which I leave there because when we sell the house, I'm just going to give them to the next people. I said, "They're not going off." So the builder's alarms are not going off and the OmniShields are. I said, "So you say you didn't fall asleep, but if we didn't have OmniShield, would we even be here right now?"
Absolutely awesome. That's really, really good. I like that. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, shit. There's so many.
What's your favorite type of movie?
Action comedy. Right. I really like the new Hobbs and Shaw. Deadpool. So I mean, the Fast and Furious movies. I like those.
Okay. Who's your favorite superhero?
When I was a kid, it was probably Superman. Now I'd say Deadpool. Just because I really like the movies. I can watch them over and over and over again. It drives Deanne nuts, but I laugh every time. So, oh, Wonder Woman. Yeah, Wonder Woman's pretty good too. But that's for a different reason. No, I'm kidding.
How important do you feel the first 90 days is for a new dealer?
Extremely important. I mean, that's when you're getting it going. You're adding safety advisors. You're building inventory, building cash flow. So yeah, it's extremely important because I mean, if the first 90 days don't go well, unless you're a trust fund kid, it may be hard to get the next 90 days in.
Okay. So if you're one of your safety advisors, if you're a safety advisor and your goal is to be a dealer, and a safety advisor came up to you and asked this question, what should I get really good at before I open? What would you direct them to?
Really two things, training and marketing, right? You got to have the marketing for the demos. I mean, if your safety advisors don't have anywhere to go, you could be the best trainer in the world, but all you're doing is training people to sit around the office with you, right? So that's why but at the same time, you can have all the demos in the world, which, hey, don't get me wrong, I've never seen an office have that, but I'd love to see that. But if you don't have anybody to do the demos, you're not going to make any money.
Okay. Now this next question is a two-part question. Number one, do you ever prejudge? And number two, are you ever wrong when you prejudge?
I don't prejudge. I mean, to me, I try not to. I can't say I don't. I've caught myself, because I'm at that point now, and I'm sure there's a lot of safety advisors, a lot of people who do the demos out there. When you're doing the demo, in the back of your head, you're thinking about what you're going to do this weekend, because your mind just starts to, you sort of have an out-of-body experience, I call it, because you're still going, but your mind can be somewhere else because you've done it so many times. And I've seen myself sometimes where I'm just doing a demo to people, and honestly, you almost feel like you're doing it to statues. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? I don't think there's anything here. But at the same time, I've got that other voice in my head that says, Darin, just do the demo. Just finish. Don't cut anything. Just do the demo. And I've had it a few times where it's shocked me, where all of a sudden I get to the end showing them the packages and I go, okay, so, you know, should we go ahead and protect your family today? And they go, he looks at the wife, what do you think? And she says, well, I think it makes sense. And he says, okay, we'll put it on Visa. And if you had told me they were going to buy halfway through that demo, I would have called you a liar. But that's, to me, that's one reason why I believe in completing your demo and doing the same demo every time, because you just don't know. You can't read a person's mind. Believe me, I wish I could. I'd be retired now. No, I wouldn't. Pardon me, I hate sitting around. I'm going nuts here.
This feels like retirement, doesn't it?
That's why I told you the other day, I have absolutely no plans of ever retiring. Honestly,
what is the most you've sold in one day?
Sitting around, it's boring, and I never realized how bad TV really is. Sorry?
What is the most you've ever sold in one day?
Froze there for a minute.
What's the most sales you've made in one day?
Off. You froze there, Carmen.
Well, so you're the one's frozen, but okay. What's the most sales you've made in one day?
Unit, like in OmniShield or vacuums?
Either one. Most customers you've sold in one day.
Most customers I've sold in one day in vacuums, 4.
Okay.
And those were combos.
What's the most you've sold in one house?
42 units to a customer of mine. I've sold him a system. He had a big house, and he also had a 4-car garage with a 3-bedroom apartment above it, and we did the garage, tied them all together. And he also bought a 8-hard unit package for his kids.
Wow, that's awesome. 42 units, so that's a nice sale. You bet you drove back from that nice and easy and enjoyed yourself, listening to the music?
Oh, no, I went on another demo.
Okay, here's a good question for you then. What's the longest you've driven to do a demo?
Sorry? About 3 hours.
Each way?
Yeah.
Did you sell?
Yeah. Are you kidding? That's why I carry everything with me. So when I'm there, it's funny. I've installed at 1, 2 in the morning, where I'll finish my demo and the people are going, okay, well, when do you want to install it? I go, well, you guys aren't going to bed right now, are you? No, good. Let's get them in now. I mean, if you're anything like me, chances are when there's nothing worse than you go and buy something like this, and while you're waiting, you get a disaster happen. So that's why we want to get this in right away. Make sure you're protected when you go to bed tonight.
Fantastic. What's your most memorable sale? Could be this, or it could be in your previous career.
I mean, for vacuums, it was a guy who had a cleaning company, and I sold him 7 vacuums in one house. For this, there's just so many, because again, it's a different type of sale. So I find people they're more friendlier, they're more fun and stuff. So obviously I remember the 42, and that customer, I've sold 6 of his relatives, and they've all been big packages as well.
Fantastic.
And he's on my Facebook page, so he's always liking me, everything I post on there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then I've got one client not far from where I live. I sold her and her husband a big package, and then I sold all of their kids, because they all have adult kids with grandchildren. So yeah. She sent me over to see them. So I sold them, and then I sold her sisters and their families as well.
That must be awesome, man. It must be an awesome feeling doing a demo to someone who you know is related to somebody you sold.
Yeah.
Protected.
Well, I mean, this lady, it was probably my 2nd or 3rd week in selling it, is when I ran into this lady. And I see her at all the home shows every year, and she always comes by and talks to me and stuff. And, you know, asks me if there's anything new. So, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, I wish we had something else I could sell you.
Okay. All great salespeople usually have 2 or 3 really great bullets in their pocket. Which objection do you get from a customer that you absolutely love to overcome? Like when you get that objection, you just know, oh wow, this is awesome. And how do you overcome it?
I don't know. I mean, the objections are not like they used to be. I mean, objections, sometimes you'll get them over money a little bit. But then that can usually be solved with the monthly plan. So, and if you get, I mean, I don't really have any one objection that I get in particular. To me, an objection is an objection. It's just something to be overcome. So I really, to me, I work at it and I just use everything. I just logically think, okay, what are you actually telling me here? Because in most cases, people will think it's money, but it's never money. People always say, oh, well, you've got to worry about, oh, well, people say they can't afford it or they don't want to spend this much or whatever. If I get people that are talking like that, I'll just point out the fact that, hey, you know what's worse than dying in a fire? You living and your wife doesn't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when I first started in sales, almost every sales book that I read, they all said the same thing. The biggest loss of sales is prejudging. People prejudge and the wrong things. And so that made me think that if prejudging can cost you sales, then prejudging can make you sales. So I started to, learn how to prejudge in a positive way. So if I went to a house, I was looking for buying signals, if you want. One of the first ones that I got excited about is if their lawn was manicured or if they had a garden outside that was done nice. Is there anything that you walk into a home that just gets you excited besides the fact that you're seeing their alarms hanging by the wire?
Oh yeah, I've seen that quite a few times. I mean, it's funny. You walk into homes and they've got yellow alarms, right? And they didn't start out that way. I don't know. I mean, to me, I walk in, I usually gauge it by how friendly they are.
Okay.
And I know if they're super friendly when I get there. But then what I do is a lot of times, because I'm doing home shows and people will get there and they'll come with their friends or their relatives. So a lot of times we'll get the same last names on ballots. So the minute I look at a call, if I see a familiar last name like Taylor mentions, I remember a lot of useless things, right? So like I've got one family out by Belleville. I've probably sold 8 in the family because I just remember customers' names. So when I get to that house, if I walk in and like I've got one family called well, depend on what part of Belleville you're in, how they pronounce their last name. It's Hough, but you pronounce it Huff. Some pronounce it Ho. So I'll just say, oh, Ron and Mary? Oh, yeah, out in the oh, yeah, we put the system in the house. Let me show you why you need it as well. And I just go right into it, right? And I find a lot of times if you've been there and you can cite somebody they know, a friend or a relative that has it, and it's the old keeping up with the Joneses, right? I mean, there's no way they're going to say no. So, but to me, I just find there's nobody in particular. I just walk in and I look around. The first thing I try to do when I'm walking the kitchen is look at their alarm on my way there. And when I do the alarm kill, I get up and I go over and I pull their alarm down if I can get it down because I want to see how old it is. And then I'll bring it back to the table like David shows us in the videos.
Okay. How often do you find an alarm that's expired?
Probably 20-30% of the time.
Really, eh?
Yeah, like that's why I always look for it. Especially I find if it's like a house built in the last 20 years.
Okay.
Because most of these people bought the home new from a builder, especially in our area. So chances are the alarm they got in there is what the builder put.
Right.
Right. So if the house is 20 years old, because I'll ask them, I go, when's the last time you changed out these alarms? And they'll go, what do you mean changed them out? I said, well, how old's your house? Oh, well, we bought it in 1998, so it's 22 years. So you do realize these are supposed to be changed every 10 years. And they'll look at me like, really? And I go, well, here, let's take a look. Then I just pull it down.
Fantastic. Love it. Do you have any particular motivational or inspirational book that's your favorite?
I've always liked See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. I've probably always been a big Ziggy fan. I like Og Mandino, just because he doesn't sit around. He goes out and finds the sales. Right now, I'm just starting a book, Instant Team Building with Bradley Sugars. I find that one seems to be pretty good so far.
Fantastic.
So to me, anything that can increase your knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I look at it, if it's a sales book or a team building book or anything, if you read the whole book, even if it's just you learn one thing out of that book, it was well worth reading.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, there's no one book that's going to teach you everything.
Sweet. How do you motivate yourself each day?
I don't know. I'm just one of those self-motivated guys. I don't know. I just I enjoy what I do. And I think that's mainly what it is. You got to enjoy what you're doing. I mean, it was funny before this nice vacation. It was all about thinking how when I retire, I'm going to get a place down in New Zealand for the winters. I'm going to have a place up here. I'm going to be able to do all this stuff. And now I'm thinking, there's no way in hell, I don't care where the house is. I want to sit around.
Absolutely.
So this is definitely motivating me because I'm dying to get back to work.
No doubt. No doubt. What is your why or purpose in running your business with your wife? What inspires you to get things rocking and rolling?
Well, I mean, obviously an income, but I mean, what do you mean running it with my wife?
What
Why is it good to run it with my wife?
What is your purpose? What drives you?
I like the contests. I enjoy protecting people, especially with this product more than obviously with vacuums and hot tubs and all that. It was funny. I mean, years ago when I left vacuums for a couple of years and I went and I sold hot tubs and spas and patio furniture and that. We sold high-end stuff back then. I mean, this is like the 90s, early 90s. And I was selling $10,000 hot tubs back then, which would be like $25,000, $30,000 ones now. I sold patio sets that were on average $7,000, $8,000 back then. And it was funny. I think I got the biggest compliment ever from Alistair, who was this South African retired accountant who owned the store. And he watched me for a little bit and he goes, Darin, he goes, and I don't know if he meant it as a compliment, he goes, but you have no problem asking people for their money. And I sort of laughed and he goes, well, I said, well, let me question. He goes, what? I said, what do you mean? I said, well, we sell high-end spas, top-of-the-line patio furniture, billiard tables in the winter, and saunas, right? And he says, yeah. I said, well, if you don't want one of those things, what are you doing in my store? And he goes, well, maybe they're coming in to dream. I said, yeah, and it's my job to make that dream come true today. So to me, I think my main motivation with this product is I think everybody needs it in their home. That's what inspires me. I mean, the fact that when I see the sad excuses for fire alarms that builders are putting in and that people are buying at Home Depot or Lowe's or Costco, and I realize that half the time they're probably not going to work, knowing that I could have went in there and gave them a product that would work. And if I don't do it, then I would just feel bad, especially if something happened to their families. Absolutely. So I really enjoy protecting people. I think that's what inspires me the most.
For the benefit of the people on this call today, I'll just give you a little bit of the background of the way that Darin operates, because it just reminds me of one close that I thought was particularly great. And it was when he was selling the high-end outdoor backyard furniture, and they were about $7,000, $8,000. And every great quality product at a high price point has a reason for being there, but you don't always see it. And so I remember being in the store one time when you were talking to a customer, Darin, and the customer was sitting there asking you how much this particular patio set was, and I think it was $8,200, something like that. And the person almost fell down. I thought they were going to faint. And they said to you, are you crazy? How could you charge $8,000 for a patio set? And I'll never forget your answer to them when you said, well, let me ask you a question. You're going to have your patio set outside. How much do you pay for a living room set? And the guy goes, what do you mean? Well, how much do you pay for your sofa, your love's chair, your lazy boy, your coffee table? How much do you pay for your living room set? You're going to probably pay about $8,000. And this could be sitting in your living room with no weather problems, with a roof over its head and the same temperature all year long. And you're going to want it to last 10, 12, 15 years. Now, your furniture, you want the same comfort outdoors you have indoors, but it's got to have the rain, the snow, the sleet, the hail, the sun beating down it all the time. How long do you want it to last? If you ever seen patio sets that last about 2 years and looking really bad, it's because the person paid $1,200. And it made so much sense that day when I heard you say that you want the same quality outdoors you have indoors, but it has to beat back all of these elements. So it better be costing a little bit more money, and it made a lot of sense. So that was awesome, Darin. I just wanted to point that out to people. You've moved a lot in your career, all over the place. Is there any more moves planned or left? You're frozen. Hopefully he's going to get back to us.
Are you? No.
You're frozen, Darin, and there's not a word I can hear from you, buddy.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear only heard about 3 words.
You moved quite a bit in your career. Is there any more moves left in your career? And if so, where?
There's always moves. I mean, to me, you move for opportunity. So, I mean, for the last couple of years, we've been thinking of moving down east. Okay. Just because I've sold down there years ago. There's very few places I probably haven't sold across Canada. And I enjoyed it down there. So I really liked it. And, as you get a little older, you sort of maybe want a little slower pace of life. But it's like, the answer is, oh, well, I want to live there for their winters. And I said, well, we'll wheels, or we'll get a place in Florida. I mean, I'm not worried about that. I just like it down there. So that may be the next move. We've been talking about it. So, but to me, it's wherever the opportunity is.
Excellent. Well, Darin, I want to thank you so much for being on the call today. It's absolutely awesome. I'm sure everybody got a lot of good knowledge, got to know you a little bit better, which was great. If you have one final message you would like to give to the International Lifesavers, what would it be?
To me, I think the main thing is just keep pushing. I mean, hopefully soon this will be over. Make sure you're prepared for when it is, so that way you can definitely get going the minute you're able to get back into your offices. If there's anything you were thinking of doing with your offices, do it now. I mean, you can still go to your office and get things ready for when you can open. So have it ready for day one. Don't think, oh, well, when I get back, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Do it now, so that way it's ready from day one.
Fantastic, Darin. That's absolutely awesome. Well, thank you very much for today. That's absolutely great. Today's contest is going to be for a copy of The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey by Clem Blanchard. It's an absolutely awesome book, and it's going to give you all the little tidbits that you're going to need to overcome everything. There is 4 questions today to answer. Pretty easy question, but we'll see who's actually been paying attention. The first question is, who is headlining the entertainment at this year's convention? Who is headlining the entertainment at this year's convention? Number 2, what is Chris Roberts and David Carter's motto for this year's convention? What is the one thing they've been saying since last year for the motto for this year's convention? Number 3, who says in Global Peak video, honesty, integrity, and fairness? Who says in the Global Peak video, honesty, integrity, and fairness? And one final question to add to this one. A.V. Holden, in his sales call on Global Peak Training, found out what is the best lead source is what? What lead source is the best? Let's have a fantastic day. Thanks everybody for participating today. Tomorrow we will be having Lisa Kennedy, one of the top, if not the top recruiters in their company, on the hot seat tomorrow. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get those questions in. Let's have an awesome day. Thanks, boys and girls.
Have a great day.